Howdy folks, Spencer here, and today is the first video in this series about the Lifeforms expansion. Today I'm really just looking at the very basics of this expansion, and in future videos I'll be diving much further into the numbers and some of the mechanics. So before I get too far into things, if you would like to try Lifeforms out for yourself, which I would highly recommend getting some hands-on with it, there's a link in the description down below and in the pinned comment. If you hit either of those, you can join any of the universes you see up on screen now. These all have Lifeforms enabled and opened just about a week ago on August 5th. So Lifeforms has a lot to it, and I think a lot of people, if you're really looking to progress your account the most efficient, it's important to go in and figure out how you want to actually execute life forms when it goes live on the universe that you actively play. I think having a plan is a good idea. I still see a lot of people on my universe over on terrazed.us that don't even have a class selected or alliance class, and you know having an idea of what you want to do with this is going to give you a significant advantage over those players that spend no time bothering to look at any of the new mechanics or systems that are introduced. So definitely check out the links down below, get yourself a head start with at least understanding how this all works, so that when it does go live on your main universe, you know what to do. So what exactly is Lifeforms? Well, Lifeforms is the biggest expansion for OGame in a very long time, and it's really allowing for a massive amount of customization on all of your planets. The way that it's doing this is it's introducing races that you can have populate your planets. Each race has their own set of unique buildings and will unlock 18 new technologies that can be mixed and matched on a new talent tree. So there's 18 slots on the new talent tree or tech tree, and each slot has one technology from each of the races. So you can mix and match, like I was saying, and really customize things to significantly boost your playstyle. And I'm not talking about a small boost. These numbers here, spreadsheet, the numbers that I have on this spreadsheet are a little bit dated, but things have changed since I did this. But we're not talking about like a small boost. Like we're talking about, if you're a miner, you're looking at potentially at least 100% production boost if you build this out correctly. So again, the numbers for right here aren't accurate. They've changed the value since I set this up, but you get the point of there being potential to have a very large boost from all of these technologies, all the buildings, if you figure out how to set it up properly to boost your playstyle. And it's not just things for people that do the mining playstyle. There's things here that are going to boost anyone that does expeditions. There's things here to boost things for fleeters. There's technologies that are going to boost specific ships. There's technologies that are going to boost your finds in expeditions, so you get more ships, resources, dark matter from expeditions. There's loads of production boost, ways to boost cargo ships up. Like, there's so many different boost options with this, and it just really does allow for a massive amount of customization. And the reason it's like per planet customization is because this tech tree, this talent tree that they're calling it, it's not like your normal research. Your normal research is the same regardless of the planet. This Lifeforms technology, it's per planet. So you see the tech tree that I have here. If I go to another planet, it's not the same. In fact, even though I have some of the same technology slotted, like this battlecruiser one, you see on this planet it's level 0, whereas back on this first planet it's level 5. And the way that this all is working is that all of these techs, even though they're done per planet, they're boosting everything on your account. So I've got this battle cruiser buff going on, and even though I don't have it on all planets, any planet I have is going to be getting a boost to battle cruisers, even if it doesn't have that technology slotted. And if I did have this battle cruiser tech slotted on multiple planets, if I worked on it on multiple planets, the bonus from it's going to stack. So you see here, if I had level 10 of this, it would provide me a 3% boost to all the stats of the battle cruiser. Okay, that doesn't sound like much. Now consider the fact of someone that has a fairly developed account. Let's say they have 15 planets and they have this at level 10. So that's a 3% boost times 15, 45%. Now, what if there's more technologies that boost the battle cruisers? This one does the exact same thing. So 3% at level 10. Now let's imagine that I have both battle cruiser techs at level 10 on 15 planets. I am now boosting my battle cruisers up to at least or almost double their base values. So there's loads of different technologies here to boost different playstyles. It's massively important that you invest in the right things to boost your playstyle. Even if you're doing, things like just mining, there's loads of production boosts here. And I bring the calculator back up. If we take this example, I've got the high performance extractors here. Let's say I have it at level 15. So at level 15, it gives a 0.9% production boost. Now let's imagine I have that on 15 planets. 13.5% production boost from that one technology in that one slot. So that doesn't seem like much. The numbers, when you look at these, you see that it's increasing by 0.06% per level. It doesn't look like much, but it's the fact that it's per planet. So you're working on this independently on each planet, and you're getting a really large production boost out of it. So Lifeforms, massive amount of customization, massive amount of potential boost if you set it up properly to boost your playstyle. And, knowing how to take advantage of it is going to be very important. So lots of options with the tech tree, like they were saying here. Something else I should mention, there are new buildings, and these new buildings you are going to be taking up to a very high level, like you see level 71, 75. Something very important to note, you see that I have one slot left on my planet. None of these lifeform buildings take a planet slot. So you do not have to worry if you have a ton of really small planets. I've got a few myself on my main account where they'd only have room for like seven more buildings. Thankfully, all of these lifeforms buildings, no planet slots. So that is a very important thing to note. So let me show you how to access all of the UI for the Lifeforms expansion now. When you first start up, you're going to see that there's like a bunch of people at the top right here where this human guy is right now. You're going to hit that button, and then where you see this says deactivate, you would hit activate. So initially you have to go with humans. And you then use humans to unlock the other Lifeforms races. So if I go back to this first planet, what you need to do is you need to work on these first two buildings, the residential sector and the biosphere farm, until you have the research center unlocked. So you can look at the tech tree to see the levels that requires. Once you have that done, you need to build the research center and then go to the tech tree, which you do by hitting this button to the right of Lifeforms. Remember, a lot of these buttons to the side, to the right side of all the buttons at the left do have some sort of function. So hit this button to the right of Lifeforms, and this will bring up your tech tree. And then you're going to want to work on intergalactic envoys. Build that up to at least one level. One level is all you need. Higher levels of it to just make these go a little bit faster. But you need to keep intergalactic envoys on one planet at all times. That's my recommendation right now. That's these intergalactic envoys. One planet having it means that you can do this from any planet. And what you're going to do basically is just go through and look for these purple buttons in the galaxy window when you're just going through systems, and you're going to dispatch exploration ships. You're going to hit that button, and it's going to build an exploration ship that will be consumed in this action. So you're going to build that for 5,000 metal, 1,000 crystal, and 500 deuterium. Hit yes, and it will go and do its thing. So you can just keep spamming these in every slot of a system. Even if someone is populating that slot, you can still deploy an exploration ship there. This does not interfere with their planet as far as I'm aware. It's just going and scanning the slot. It's not like scanning their actual like planet. So just keep spamming these. Do note though that these do consume a fleet slot. But if you have that technology on just one planet, you can do these from other planets. Like the planet that I swapped to before I started launching those does not have that technology slotted, but I was still able to launch them from it. So just one planet at all times with intergalactic envoys will help you out massively. Once you do these search for life forms, you're going to see the results in the expeditions here. And this is how you discover the other races. Most of the results are going to be duds, but occasionally you'll find another race, and you can just keep spamming these out and you'll find all the races. And then after you have all the races unlocked, there's another mechanic to the searching for life forms to increase the level of each life form. So you just keep spamming these out when you want, and you can continue to acquire XP to level up each of the life forms. So what does leveling up these life forms actually do for you? It increases the effectiveness of any technology on a planet that life form is slotted on. So even if the technology is not from humans, if I have humans on a planet and I have them at say level 10, which would give me a 10% boost, that's going to make whatever technologies I have on that planet 10% more effective. So it's the same for the other races. Every level is 1% extra tech bonus. It's possible that may change in the future, but that is how it currently works. So, like I said, intergalactic envoys, keep it on a single planet and you'll be fine. Let's see here. A lot of this tech tree stuff I will also be covering in a future video, like these resets and the upcoming artifacts edition to remove some of the randomness from choosing these. Artifacts will be another resource that you find during expeditions, and you will use them to guarantee or specifically pick one of these technologies from a race that is not actively on your planet. So the tech stuff is a bit random right now, but it'll be less random in the future. So the first 5 buildings I want to talk about now. I'm going to talk about the other 7 buildings for each race more in a future video. But I want to explain these first 5 because they're the exact same for each race. So the first building is your housing building, and it generates what they call tier 1 population. This is just your average civilian, basically. And this building determines the amount of capacity you have for population on your planet. The second building is the farm, or the food production building for each of the races. Like I said, it's the exact same regardless of the race here. They all serve the same point. And this food building, I would generally recommend that you have this a few levels higher than the housing building. So it's a little bit of a balance to do, but if your population doesn't have enough food, they'll start to die off, or some of them will start to die off. So you want to make sure they have enough food. Now, both population and food are new resources. You see them listed here at the top. Population, if you are attacked, can be killed, but it cannot be stolen or traded. Population matters for the technologies, and you see that there's these different tiers, and the population is shown here, and these population values are required for the various technologies. If your population goes below a certain threshold, I think this planet, yeah, like this planet, I didn't have enough food, so part of my population died off. And what that caused was some of these researches to turn off because I didn't have enough population for them. So having your population above a certain level is very important for the technologies, especially as you get into the tier 2 and tier 3 technologies. And if someone does want to hit you to wipe out your population, they can wipe out several of the boosts that you have active. So might be worth investing in a little bit more defense on your planets just to further deter anyone from being a dick and killing your population. And food is a resource that can be stolen or traded. So it's there. I think for most people, they're going to have enough food. I don't think you're going to see people really going out of their way to hit you for food, but maybe you'll find someone who's just being a massive dick and is going to hit you to get the food. So I doubt that'll happen, but maybe. The third building is the research center. This is what unlocks the tech tree on that planet. Further levels of this will reduce the time it takes for any of the Lifeforms techs to progress or to build, and then it'll also reduce the cost of the Lifeforms technology. A lot of these buildings too, I need to note, are going to consume energy. So if you're like just sitting there right at the edge of having enough power in your current setup, you might want to look at investing in increasing your power production capabilities before Lifeforms goes live. A lot of these buildings do consume a fair bit of energy. The fourth building is basically a college building for your population. So part of your population is being sent here and they're being converted from tier 1 to tier 2. And this really matters for the different tiers in the tech tree here. You see the first set, the tier 1 has requirements based on the tier 1 population. The tier 2 research has requirements based on your tier 2 population, and then the tier 3 requirements based off the tier 3 population, with the most expensive being a requirement of 448 million T population, which means that most of you are not getting that last unlock for quite a while. That's going to require quite a bit of investment, probably a couple billion resources on that planet. So this building here, the fourth building, it's the same for each of these, like I was saying. What this does is it converts, for each level, it's 1% of the tier 1 population being converted into tier 2. Like I said, the way that I think of it is it's like a college you're sending your population to. And the building to the right of it, the fifth building here, is converting part of the tier 2 population into tier 3. So for this one, I look at this as the people who have went to college and are pursuing an even higher education, becoming doctors or really specialist. Uh, it's quite expensive to get the T3 population up very high. And because the T3 building takes a percent of the tier 2 population, you have to have a very high tier 1 population, but you also have to invest in your tier 2 building quite a bit, and you're going to want to get your tier 3 building up to like level 10. Now the issue with that is that this is very expensive. So these numbers are for the Rocktall buildings, the Rocktall building 4 and 5 for their tier 2 and tier 3 population buildings. If you want to build like the tier 3 population building up to like 10 or 11, that's fine. The tier 2 population building you can push up to 15 quite easily, I would say. But the thing is, this is per planet. Any of this lifeform stuff that you're doing, you basically need to divide your resources per planet because you're trying to do this on all the planets you have at the same time. All this tech stuff is being done independently per planet. So you got to factor in that all these buildings that you're doing, if I looked at this and I just had to do this on one planet, it'd be no issue to get like the T2 pop building up to level 20 and then the T3 one up to like 15. I'd have no issue with that. But I have to do it per planet, which means that I have to budget accordingly and plan to divide my resources between each planet. So for many of you, you're going to want to do something similar. Getting that T3 population up is going to be really expensive, but if you can get your tier 1 population up really high, it'll make it much easier. So once again, the tier 2 population is a portion of the tier 1, and then the tier 3 is a portion of the tier 2. So as you can see here, I have level 15 in this example of the tier 2 building, so 15% of the tier 1 population is converted to tier 2. And then I have the tier 3 building at level 10, so 10% of the tier 2 population is converted to tier 3. So yeah, it's going to be a bit expensive to get that up really high, and do not go in expecting you're going to get all the tech tree slots unlocked right away unless you have been saving up resources for a very, very long time, like I've been doing for the past like 3 months. Okay, so I think that covers what I wanted to talk about with the tech tree in this video. I'm going to be diving much further into the tech tree in one of the future content pieces because there's lots of numbers that I need to update on my spreadsheets for it. Like this sheet here, this is what I was looking at about a month ago, and they have since done a patch that reduced the values of the bonuses you were getting from it. So I really need to go through, adjust the values on this, and also the prices, because I think the costs have been tuned a little bit also. So yeah, there's lots of things to talk about with the tech stuff, but I got to get my stuff updated before I talk about that. Okay, so on my notes here, I also want to do a tour or just a quick rundown of the different races we have. So humans are the ones that you start out with. As I explained, you get the intergalactic envoys through them that you will then use to unlock the other races. Humans are very much a generalist option. They're like a jack of all trades, not exactly a specialist at any one thing. They're good, but I think for most people, you're going to end up investing heavily in one of the other life forms that benefits your playstyle more. So I'm just going to pop these open, and you can pause if you want to look at the specifics here. I'll be diving into this, the numbers from them, the specific boost, much further in the other content pieces. If I talk about that all here, this is going to be a very, very long video. So Rocktal are the class or the race that is focused on boosting the miner playstyle. So they have buildings that are boosting production. They have a building that's even reducing the cost of your mines. It's not that huge, but it's still a reduction. They've got some interesting boost, and their technologies just really are going to mesh well for those of you that are a collector. The miner playstyle is going to heavily benefit from what the Rocktalls offer, and especially if you're a turtle, they are the only ones that have a technology that will boost up the defenses. So if you're someone like Demon Freak, you may want to check out the Rocktall. So keep in mind, any of these technologies can be slotted on the other life forms if you get lucky with the random aspect of that. But like I was also saying, in a future content update, they may be changing that to allow you to pick the specific things you want. Mechas are focused on fleeting, but the other thing that they have that's sort of, it's actually making some people look at them a bit closer and maybe as a better option than the Rocktall. The Rocktall have very expensive buildings to build up. The mechas have buildings that are a bit more affordable to build up. You're not getting as many of the production boosts, but what you're getting with the mechas is some buildings that boost up your technologies. So if I have a technology like that high performance extractors that gives me like a 0.06, or no, what is it? A 0.6% production boost for everything at level 10. If I get the mecha buildings up to get me like a 10% tech boost, that increases that to 0.66, and that increases that also goes out to the other planets. So Instead of giving all the other planets a 0.6% boost, I'm now giving them a 0.66% boost. And if you do mecha on all planets, and you heavily invest in your Lifeforms technology, there is the thought out there that the mechas could potentially beat out the Rocktal, though I'm not sure how that stands with the current values, but that's something that I'll be diving into when I talk about the technologies. They have a lot of good fleeter focused technologies, also the mechas. Lots of things that are boosting specific ships, reducing the cost of launching your fleet, refunding you deuterium if you recall a fleet, things like that. Lots of good boosts there. And then the Kalish are specifically looking to boost discoverers. I find that their buildings seem sort of lackluster to me. They have a really easy time getting like the tier 3 tech slots unlocked, but you're not really getting much of a production bonus from them. Uh, just I don't find them that interesting. But their technologies definitely have quite a bit of value. Lots of things here to boost your expedition results, increase the amount of ships you get, the resources, the dark matter, uh, reduce the time it takes to do an expedition, reduce the chance of losing your fleet in an expedition, lots of nice things here. And I think for some people, maybe being able to go and just get all these discover boost right off the bat will make the Kalish appealing for you. But I don't know. I think for me, the one that interests me the most is the mechas with that tech boost, but I haven't looked at it since the last balance pass closely enough numbers wise, so I can't say for sure that that's going to beat out the Rocktal. So that's an overview of the different life forms here. Once again, humans, very generalist. Rocktal, lots of things there for the mining playstyle. Mechas, lots of boost for fleeters. And Kalish, lots of boost for discoverers. So that is the overview of those different life forms. And, they each have their unique buildings. But any of the technologies they offer, that's the point of the mix and match feature of this tech tree or talent tree. I've got technologies on here from every one of the life forms races, so you don't have to go and pick a specific race just to get their technologies, though you will have an easier time until that artifact system is actually released. um the reason you would go with a specific race for their technologies is if you have, let's say, the Rocktal, where you want to get most of your technologies from them. You would go through and you would pick a Rocktal because whatever race you have slotted, you can for sure pick the technology that they offer. It's just when you want to go and get one of the technologies from the other races where you currently have to deal with this RNG element. So I also want to mention swapping between races. Swapping between the races is something you can do by just hitting the icon for your race at the top right, or go to Lifeform, hit Lifeforms here. You can deactivate the race and then you can turn the others on. You do not lose any of the buildings that you have built up, your tech tree. Like it's all going to be disabled and it'll load whatever you have set up for the other life form, but in the background, any investment you make in these other life forms on your planets will persist. You can see that in the Empire view. So even though I have humans turned on right now, I can see that I've got mecha buildings here, Rocktal buildings, Kalish. I've got all of these buildings sitting there, and if I swap back to any of those life forms, I will get them back. So lots of nice things there, and you can swap between them all. You could build them all up. The downside is that if you do go through and you change your life form over to another one, your population gets wiped out, and it takes like a day or two for that to repopulate. So do keep that in mind if you do want to swap between the life forms races. Now, When I was talking about the UI earlier, I think I forgot to mention that if you go to the resource settings, that's that button to the right of resources. There's a button in here called player bonuses, and you can hit recalculate. What this does is it will show you your current bonuses from all of the Lifeforms technologies that you have running. It will also tell you if there is a cap. So you can see for like research speed here, there's a cap that I can only reduce the duration of research, normal research, by 99%. You can see that if I want to invest in the expedition fleet loss chance, there's a cap of 50%. The fleet recall deuterium refund bonus 90%. So if I recalled my fleet and I had that up at the cap, I could only get up to 90% of my deuterium back when I recall the fleet. Um, you know, there's lots of information here. My production bonuses are not very high on the test universe because I have not built things up that far, and I don't have many planets. When I ran out of dark matter, I pretty much gave up on waiting around for stuff and just started crunching numbers on the spreadsheet. So yeah, there's just a recap then of the UI. You access the buildings by hitting the Lifeform button. You access the technologies or the tech tree by hitting the button to the right of Lifeforms. To access your current bonuses, you hit the resource settings button, hit player bonuses. That'll show you everything. If the values are not updating, you can go and hit the recalculate button back on the resource settings page. And if you want to view the information about Lifeforms, you can go to the Lifeform button at the left, hit the Lifeforms button at the bottom right of this picture, then hit Lifeform Overview, and that'll tell you about the other races. If you want to look at your level on the current race that you have, it says it on the Lifeforms page. So that's the UI. I think that's most of the points I wanted to cover here. I'm going to cover the resetting mechanic. Actually, I'll talk about it here. You can freely reset your tech tree every couple days. And the point of this is if you're doing the random rolling for assignments, if you have a specific tech you want to slot from the race you have on the planet, you can for sure pick that. But when it comes to these other technologies, if I didn't want this human one, I would have to hit the random button. And when I hit this random button, like if I want that rock tall one, I got it, but it was only a 25% chance. All of these technologies are a 25% chance under the current implementation. So if you get a really bad roll, the idea with this is that you can just re-roll and try to get a better result. You can do that freely every couple days. And when you reset this, it does give you an option to restore back to your previous selection in that tier if you got an even worse result than you wanted. Each tier is separate. And if I just reset the tier 1 stuff and the tier 2 did not get affected, nor did the tier 3. So if you want to specifically reselect a set of items in, the second tier, for example, you could do that without impacting the other ones that you have slotted. So it's nice that they have divided things up. That helps a little bit with the random aspect of it, like I was talking about. But we really need that artifact system to come out to allow us to have a 100% chance to activate the things that we want to activate. Anyhow, I think that is pretty much it for the basics with Lifeforms. I may have missed something. I tried to do this as a few takes earlier, and they just did not go good. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. I will be covering some of the numbers in a bit further detail in future videos, like I was saying. I'm going to do a video where I'm talking about the cost of the buildings for each race and the specific bonuses they give you. And then definitely another video going over the technologies, and then maybe another after that, just comparing some numbers to see what is best for like mining, for example. And it looks like that set of search for Lifeforms finally finished that I did earlier. I found one rock tall. Did I get anything else out of the 15? A human. So out of the 15 there, I got 2 finds. So, like I was saying, keep intergalactic envoys slotted on each planet and be ready to spam lots of them. But that is going to be it for today. Thank you for watching. See you guys next time.